Glad you're back with us. The 24 hours of New Hampshire coverage continues here in Loudon, New Hampshire. Time for final practice for the NASCAR Nationwide Series teams. They had a 50-minute practice earlier. This one's slated for 1 hour, 20 minutes. 81 degrees, couple of pretty puffy clouds in the sky. Very little chance of rain throughout the entire weekend here on a beautiful summer afternoon. Glad you're back with us. You know these guys. Jeff, Larry.
We never go away.
We're never going to leave. I want to talk about this racetrack specifically. We had a 50-minute practice, now 1 hour and 20 minutes. Pretty warm day by New England standards here in New Hampshire. So, Jeff, let's talk about the agenda of these teams. They don't qualify until tomorrow morning.
The big thing right now, Steve, is this racetrack has gone through a transition because when they started out early this morning, not a lot of rubber on the racetrack. They've had a 50-minute practice. The Sprint Cup Series has been on the racetrack for about an hour and a half, so a lot of rubber now on the racetrack. Now you got to start figuring out where's your balance really at. What is it going to take for tomorrow's race? Qualifying is going to be important, but can you get the right balance and figure out how much this track has changed, especially in the last little bit? And for the guys who are doing the double duty, I think they got an unfair advantage. Those 12 drivers, they've been on the racetrack for the last hour and a half, and they understand what transition is already the track's gone through.
Larry, towards the end of that first practice, saw a few of the go or go home teams make a qualifying run. How about the rest of the teams, the regulars, if you will?
Well, I mean, this is a tough racetrack to get a hold of. It doesn't have a lot of grip. It's very temperature sensitive. And not only about the go or go homers, but when you think about these 44, 45 cars that are here, about a fourth of those drivers, they have never made a start here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. So I still think in this hour and a half, like Danica Patrick making her first start here, like Kevin Swindell making his first Nationwide Series start, period, I think just more seat time, more laps around this mile racetrack is the most important thing. Yeah, you want to qualify good. This is a fairly short race tomorrow. Track position is important from the drop of the green flag, but making laps around this place and figuring it out, because it is a very tough racetrack to get around.
On board with Justin Allgaier, and we go to the garage and Ralph Shaheen.
At the end of that first practice session, Steve, David Gilliland was the fourth quickest car in the field. In fact, he was one of only 4 cars to get into the 29-second range. Now, they made a qualifying run right at the end of that session, loved it. He said the car was perfect. He said, put it up on jack stands, put a cover over it, we're good for tomorrow. He is not going to practice this session. They're very happy with this 91. The only thing they wish they could do is find somebody to get on the side over here. This is a car that doesn't have any sponsors on it, just 2 or 3 crew guys working on it, but they're quick. Still,
Ralph, Kyle Busch was the 10th fastest car in practice. I talked to crew chief Jason Radcliffe right now monitoring Kyle on the racetrack, and he said that they were way too loose starting out. This is the first time Kyle will have been in the car in the last 4 races since he won back-to-back at Dover and Charlotte. He said anytime you can put Kyle Busch behind the wheel, he said we know we have a great chance to win. Got to continue to work on that looseness, though. They've got to get it tightened up for tomorrow.
Jeff,
back to the booth.
Thank you, Phil. Jeff, Larry, how are we going to work on a loose race car? This is, as we said, it's a sneaky fast track.
I think right now what you've got to work on more than anything else is you've got to figure out where are you loose at, Steve. Are you loose getting in the corner? Are you more loose through the center? Or is it on the exit? That's what you've got to identify first and work in that direction. I mean, Larry's been always telling you, you've got to work on your first initial issue. If you're loose going in, you got to fix that before you start worrying about the rest of the corner. Address that. We're sitting there right along with Kyle Busch. You can see right now how loose that number 18 car is. He definitely was working it coming up off the late exit of that corner.
But one thing I noticed that Kyle Busch is doing right here, he did it on the backstretch the lap before this, is he basically jumped in behind that 33 car of Kevin Harvick, because Harvick has a good car. He was good in that first practice. So what this lets him do is evaluate what his car is doing versus that 33 car.
In the first practice, Brad Keselowski was the quickest, followed by Kevin Harvick, Paul Menard. You heard Ralph talk about David Gilliland, then Steve Wallace and Carl Edwards.
This man he's trying to run down right there, number 33, Kevin Harvick, who is currently the fastest in this second practice, and he was second quick in the morning practice.
Tell you what, Kevin Harvick has just 1 win here, Nationwide Series competition. However, he has led 588 laps. And among the active drivers, looks like the closest to that would be Kenny Wallace, ironically, who's led 238.
Now, one thing I want to go back to, Larry kind of touched on this right how hard it is to get a hold of this racetrack. This is a driver's racetrack, in my opinion. The guy who can have
30.02.
who has the,
Good. Just a little too tight in the center still.
his car's a little bit tight right in the center, so they want to maybe try to free that up a little bit, but you don't want to hurt late exit by doing that either. But that's the thing about, I think, this style of racetrack. We take it to the guys we know will be watching tomorrow when they drop the green flag, the 18 of Kyle Busch along with Kevin Harvick, because they've got a good field and they can handle a race car that's not quite right.
Larry, you talked in the first practice about watch Jason Keller in the 35, not overcharging the corners. So for an aggressive driver like a Kyle Busch or a Kevin Harvick, is that a difficult thing to preach to them?
Well, I don't think so, because they understand this racetrack. You know, you mentioned Kevin Harvick has won here. Kyle Busch is defending race winner of this race. I couldn't help but snigger when you said that Kevin Harvick only has one win here in the Nationwide Series. Just remember, if you've won in the Nationwide Series here, you will only have one win, because we've had 23 Nationwide Series races here with 23 different drivers. But it's like walking a tightrope. You know, you hear Kevin Harvick talk about too tight, won't turn in the center. Kyle Busch too loose. The real key to me to this 1 mile racetrack is keep that car turning and rotating through the middle of the corner, but at the same time, find that balancing act on the exit of not being too loose and the car turning well late exit. It's like absolutely walking on top of a razor blade.
And I'll go one step further. We talk about the difficulty of this racetrack and the number of winners. Go one step further. They know they just finished the Sprint Cup practice, but out of those 30 races that have been run here, there have been 20 different drivers. There's only been like 6 guys who've been able to win at this racetrack more than once. So this racetrack may look easy, but it ain't.
Early in, Kevin Harvick is the quickest, followed by Brad Keselowski, Kyle Busch. Eric McClure in the 24 car, the hefty odor block Ford. Kevin Harvick still the quickest, followed by Paul Menard, Brad Keselowski, and Kyle Busch. 38 drivers have been on the racetrack in this final practice.
But Steve, look who's in position number 5. The number 90 car of Danny O'Quinn, who happens to be teammates with the 91 of David Gilliland. So both of these cars must have a pretty good sit-up up underneath them, because both these drivers have been pretty quick in the practices.
And I tell you another thing I couldn't help but think about David Gilliland a while ago when they were talking about not running this practice. That's one of those drivers doing the double duty. And if there is a racetrack that the way the Nationwide Series car drives versus the Sprint Cup Series car drives, I think the flatter the corners, the more difference there is. David just practiced that Sprint Cup Series car. I like the fact, if I was his crew chief in the Sprint Cup Series, I like the fact that he's not going to be in this Nationwide Series car before we have to go out and qualify.
Take care of business first, which has to do with the fact that David's got to qualify that car this afternoon also. He's not in the show over there either. So let's get that car down there for the big show on Sunday. Then we'll worry about the 90. And again, or 91. Again, it looks like that 91 has got a lot of speed in it. So possibly it'll be okay tomorrow morning.
And both the 90 and the 91 have to qualify on the time and speed tomorrow.
And like you said, Larry, you're going to have a good night's sleep to come back and kind of like not have any kind of preconceived feelings or notions or anything, and start clean, you might say, tomorrow morning.
But I think, you know, we talk about overdriving the interest of the corner. I think if there's one of these types of cars that it hurts you more, it is the Sprint Cup Series car, because obviously that car has a much higher center of gravity, and the flatter the corners are, like they are here at Loudon, the more that becomes detriment to you, because it's almost like the car wants to roll over, especially when you start overdriving the entrance.
A minute ago, we saw Kenny Wallace. Kenny won here in the Nationwide Series back in 1991. Now watching Trevor Bayne in the 99.
Kenny driving what, Philbert Martassi's car at that time? Or was he driving for his brother's?
No, that would have been Martassi.
Martassi?
Phil Martassi, yep.
Taking a look at Trevor Bayne. Was reading some stuff from his quotes this week about how much fun he had up there at Road America, but also talking a lot about, you know, looking forward to this upcoming week after this, going to Daytona with the new, you know, car that they're going to break out here in the Nationwide Series. I think a lot of people are pretty excited about this. It's going to be a totally different look when we get to Daytona.
Yeah, Trevor has a couple starts in the K&N Pro Series East with a top 5 finish and 2 top 10 finishes last year here at Loudon.
Trevor Bain 9th overall, so pretty quick here in practice early as we take a look at Jason Leffler, 18th in his Great Clips Toyota.
Yeah, but what's more important is what's behind him. The 7 car, Danica Patrick, it looks to me like she's going to school on the 38.
Yeah, her fast lap in this practice is a 31.24, which pretty much mirrors her fast lap in the first practice at a 31.22.
Larry Mack, I'm depressed. Jimmy Hicks just handed me a note. Hammond was right. Kenny was driving for Rusty. Depressed.
But Phil Martossi has won a Nationwide Series race
Yes,
here
he has.
with Jeff Burton driving for him.
Okay, but at the same time, Kenny Wallace was driving the number 36, probably Cox Mills,
Cox Lumber.
Cox Lumbers for his brother. Can I get an okay?
You're the man. Was it
Now you get one right out of the full year, ain't too bad.
was it the Cox treated lumber?
Exactly.
Number 36?
Number 36. It was a Pontiac, might add, too.
He was. Phil Parsons.
Guys, we're taking a look at Colin Brown in the 16 car. He's only been in this car 3 times out of the last 8. All 3 times top 11 finishes, 2 10ths and an 11th. Ricky Vyers, his crew chief, who was just debriefing with Colin, just came over to this team from the Baker Curb team and Greg Biffle last week. So this is really only the first time on an oval that Ricky Vyers and Colin Brown will be able to work together. They did work together last week at Wisconsin. But Colin Brown said that was a good change just now. He's been fighting a little bit of snugness in the center of the corner. He said now it feels like the front end's down a little bit in the center of the corner. He said that was a very positive change. So Colin Brown right now in the top 15 in the practice times. And by the way, this car for the most part of the year was out of the top 35 and had to qualify their way in. Just a couple weeks ago, they locked themselves in the top 30, and they said a lot less pressure when you're locked in the top 30.
Changes your whole agenda, Phil.
But he's definitely one of those 11 drivers I was talking about that'll be making their first Nationwide Series start here this weekend.
Still can't believe Hammond got it right. For the first time, Barrett Jackson, the world's greatest collector car auctions on speed, comes to Orange County. Hundreds of restored and rare cars will be auctioned off to the highest bidders. Catch 3 days of live coverage with expert commentary. Among them, Mike Joy, Barrett Jackson, Orange County tonight, 5 Eastern, exclusively on Speed.
Guys, we could all get together and get on our computers and pool our money together and go buy some really nice vintage car. I know you're a little bit in the doghouse at your house.
Denied.
But you could contribute to mine and Larry's cause.
I'm not in the doghouse. I was just denied.
Something tells me if we drag something home from Barrett Jackson, that Miss Karen, Miss Sharon, and Miss Linda will all 3 be upset at the 3 of us, regardless of how we pull our money.
The only reason yours has been denied is because you haven't asked.
Hey, Darrell Walter taught me a long time ago, I'd rather beg for forgiveness than ask for permission.
That works with everybody and everything but our wives. See Joey Logano in the 20 car here, 4th quickest. He was 6th quickest. He's run a total of 6 laps, and in Sprint Cup Series practice, he actually, the minute the track opened for practice, his car got bad loose off turn 2, and he spun out but didn't hit anything.
Did he have something else broke on that race car? Because it sure looked funny.
It did look funny, but it looked like to me they just basically did a substantial chassis setup change on it, put 4 fresh tires, and sent him back out there because it wasn't that long he was back out on the racetrack. And Joey has won here, of course, in the Sprint Cup Series, won here a year ago. He's won here in the K&N Pro East Series. Led 108 laps in this Nationwide Series race a year ago, but his teammate Kyle Busch ended up winning it. Joey finished 2nd. In fact, that's the way they were running right there, just reversed at the end of that race.
Elliott Sadler, 23rd overall. We heard in the first practice this morning, Elliott will be in this car, the 88, for 10 races.
Our buddy Elliott was pretty quick in Sprint Cup Series practice for most of that session a while ago in the 19 car.
I believe Elliott's still working on his race setup here in this number 88.
6th driver in the 88 car this season for Dale Earnhardt Jr. There's a familiar name behind the wheel of that 37 car. Ralph has more on that.
That would be Swindell. It's not Slam and Sammy, but his son Kevin behind the wheel. Of course, Sammy, Steve, spent a lot of time in the truck series when that series first got up and running. Now Kevin has made his way over here to NASCAR. He's been spending a lot of time in small open wheel cars, sprint cars, midgets, that sort of thing. So jumping into a nationwide car, a big transition. Not only just the size of the car, but think of this, radial tires, something he's getting used to on asphalt. Just getting used to asphalt, period. Something that Kevin is coming to grips with here today. I spent some time talking with Kevin and his crew chief. They're just trying to get him comfortable, acclimated to racing on asphalt in a stock car and going from there. He even laughed a little bit and said it feels confining inside of the car, because when you think about it, the difference from that open cockpit car, even with a big wing on a sprint car, much different than being in that closed-in environment inside the cockpit of one of these nationwide machines.
Ralph, he's not doing a bad job. He's 33rd overall right now, the youngest driver to win a World of Outlaws main event. He won on the dirt track at Charlotte back in 2006, just 21 years old now.
And he's absolutely making his first laps, period, around this 1 mile track in a Nationwide Series car, because this team did not get out there for that first practice earlier.
Listen to what Ralph was saying made me think about Tony Stewart at one time. Remember, he was talking about how he felt confined when he came with the head and neck restraint, some of the new safety measures. He felt like it was somewhat claustrophobic inside his car. So I wonder if that's something that kind of comes with open wheelers.
You know, guys, I think we need to mention, too, that we talk about how quick, relatively or not, that Danica Patrick is, or a young Kevin Swindell. We've got two drivers, Kevin Harvick and Paul Menard, who have run 29-second laps. Then we have about 33 drivers who have run a 30-second lap. That's how tight the competition is.
Oh, we ain't seen nothing yet. We're getting ready to go for qualifying. But, yeah, that's exactly what this series has turned into here lately, Steve, in my opinion, is it is some of the toughest and some of the closest competition in NASCAR today. I mean, we're just always wondering who's going to beat who by 1/1000th of a second.
Stay with us here at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway on Speed. We'll be right back. Well, there's some corporate synergy for you. Carl Edwards in the 60 car will be with us on trackside tonight, along with Jeff Burton. You can see that at 11 Eastern here on Speed.
You know what I'm anxious to talk to Carl Edwards about as we see him in his 60 Nationwide Series car? A couple of days ago, he was named to President Obama's Council on Fitness, Sports, and Nutrition. This was an announcement that was made in Washington, D.C. by First Lady Michelle Obama, and there's a lot of neat people on that council with him. I think we ought to get into that discussion tonight.
Sounds like a good topic.
Does that mean you're getting ready to turn over a new leaf and work in the direction of eating better and working out more and doing all those things?
Are you saying I don't eat right and I don't work out right? Is that what you're insinuating?
Listen, this man can do a plank for a solid minute.
Plank for a solid minute.
With one leg up.
Oh, you're an animal.
I'm going to the next level with my planks.
Going to the next level, I said. Now, last year, I think it was last year we were here, there was one man on the backstretch he had a scanner, he was listening to us, and he waved at us during practice. He obviously does not. But look how they have the crime scene tape out there to stake off their areas for the fans.
Here's my question.
Yes.
I was studying that during Sprint Cup Series practice. What dictates how big of an area you can stake off? Because I see a lot of different sizes out there.
I think that sort of depends on the man laying the tape.
I was getting ready to say, if it's like it was down in Texas when you were, staking out your ranches then, whoever had the biggest stick or the biggest gun, whichever it worked out to be.
Elliott Sadler's 17th right now. He's run a total of 12 laps. In fact, that was his quickest lap of this session right there.
Phil Parsons.
Guys, I want to talk a little bit about Jason Keller. We talked about Colin Brown and how his struggles on trying to get in the top 30. Well, this is another brand new team Jason Keller drives for. TriStar Motorsports was formed in the offseason. They went to Daytona, had a very fast car. Qualifying gets rained out, and they don't make the race because they had no points from last year. The same situation happened to them in another race, but they've got Jason Keller, a 10-time winner in the series, driving for them. They now have just locked themselves in after last week's race at Wisconsin in the top 30. They had road race ace Tony Avi in the car. He had a top 5 run going. On the very last lap, he was turned around and ended up finishing 20th, but still enough to get them in the top 30. The first time this season that Jason Keller and his guys, led by crew chief Brian Berry, do not have to worry about qualifying their way in.
And you know, I've never been in that position, but just talking to these drivers, and talking to these crew chiefs like Booty Barker that I do NASCAR performance with, the 13 car and Sprint Cup, not locked in, they said they don't wish that on anybody to go through what these guys go through on qualifying day when you're a go or go homer.
And I'll admit I just cheated, but in my mind I'm thinking, now Larry Mack said 23 races, 23 different winners. Keller had to be one of them. He is, 2001. Saw Justin Allgaier a moment ago heading to the garage. He's 7th overall.
Larry, did you see that 38 like I did? He stepped out a little bit.
Yeah. Yes, it was.
Definitely cocked her out right there. There wasn't no cushion up there. He's used to running around there on a racetracks that got cushion to kind of catch it back in, but it didn't have one here at Loudon.
Can we do that?
Willie Allen in the 05 car. Seen him, of course, a lot in the Camping World Truck Series and making more frequent starts here in the Nationwide Series, Phil.
Guys, I just wanted to know if you knew how many former winners we had of those 23 that are in this field today.
11.
I think it's 6.
6. I think it is 6.
You said 11 so positively. I thought you knew what you were talking about. So wait,
Phil,
let me check my notes.
I wanted to be first.
Hey, Phil, I hate to point this out, but Steve's been wrong twice today.
I know he said he couldn't believe that you were right, Jeff.
Exactly.
Hey, I got news for you, Phil. Every now and then, I'm surprised when I'm right.
And we also
Thanks,
know
guys.
that Kyle Busch has led the most laps in 34 Nationwide Series races.
No. He's led 91 or more laps in 34 races.
Oh!
Get it right. Come on,
Come on,
McBrimmels.
Larry. Larry Mack trying to wear us out with a trivia question as we watch Stephen Wallace. Wallace right now pretty quick, 8th overall, working his 18th lap of practice. Danica Patrick in the 7th. 7 car.
Like in the first practice, she is definitely putting a lot of laps on this number 7 car. She's at 23 currently during the second practice.
Of course, she's going to run a good many of these races in the second half of the Nationwide Series schedule. Right now, she's 33rd quickest, and like Jeff pointed out, she's running a total of 24 laps so far.
She ran 36 or 35 in the first practice.
Jeff, I was going to say Paul Menard, he's been quick in both practices.
He's been quick a lot this year in that number 98 car. They've got a really solid program over there, and he's really making the most of it. I mean, a couple of times this year, I thought he had a car that was going to have to be the car to beat on Saturday, and he's run strong during the course of the races. I mean, it's just like he gets better each and every week.
Well, you guys have talked about this for years. It's about putting yourself in position to win. And he gets himself there enough times, it's going to happen.
Well, and I think having a Nationwide Series car that comes out of basically the Roush Fenway Nationwide Series shop, where like Carl Edwards, the 6, the 16 come out of, I don't think that hurts their cause either.
Ralph taking a look at the scoring monitor. Brendan Gaughan, 14th overall. He's put 11 laps on the board. What's up with the 62?
Steve, they're getting better, but Larry and Jeff will understand this. You get one end of the car right doesn't mean the other end is good. They worked on the rear end of the car. It was too loose. I just spoke with Brendan. He's still sitting inside the cockpit of the car. Now they're going to work on the front end of the car. It's a little bit tight up here, which means the car just doesn't want to turn through these tight corners here. That front end not going where he wants it to go when he wants it to go there. So Brendan said they're making small adjustments to the front of it, send him back out, see if they can improve a little bit more.
But I do like what they're doing. If the back of the car is loose, is not hooked up, work on the rear of the car. If the front end's not turning, work on the front of the car, because if you start working on the front of the car to try to help a loose condition, you may just basically unhook one end to try to hook the other up. So I like what Brad Parrott and that group's doing right now.
And in talking to Brad the other day, or this morning, he said that was one thing that they've been doing here lately, is they're getting better and better on their communication. Last weekend on the road course, Brendan was up there pretty much all race long, running in the top 5, and you know, he just told me today, he said, you know, they've got South Point on the car, but they're also still looking for sponsorship for that 62 car.
I had to look twice. I thought that was Morgan Shepherd. Well, it's a Morgan Shepherd-owned car, but it's Johnny Chapman doing the driving, that number 75.
Right now, he's 28th quickest. Now, this would be a go-or-go-home car. We've got 45 cars here, so that means 2 will go home. Now, we have 4 cars that's not practiced so far in this practice session. We know one of those will not. That's David Gilliland we talked about earlier.
Johnny's he's one of those guys that he'll put your car in the show. 42 years old. He's got a lot of experience. Ralph.
Steve, now you're looking at Stephen Wallace's number 66, parked right next to Brendan Gaughan. He's been dealing with a handling issue as well. His is a little bit different. Just in the center of the corner is really the only spot he's been having problems with. They feel like they're getting closer to it. Stephen just got back in from a run after making some adjustments. A little bit happier with it, but still not exactly where they want to be. So they're going to try to make a couple more tweaks on this car, get Stephen back out.
We still got close to an hour left in this practice session, a good 50 minutes anyhow.
Well, while they work on their race car, we'll work on Larry's trivia question. We're still stumped. Sunday, it's NASCAR race day built by the Home Depot at 10 a.m. Join JR, Kenny, Hermie, Wendy, and special guest Jimmy Spencer as they give you the ultimate setup before the race here on the Magic Mile. That's Sunday, 10 Eastern, only on Speed.
Is he going to have that little shirt that says Mr. E on it?
Mr. E, I don't know, but I'm glad that we're finally out of our misery. We now know the answer to the trivia question. 5 professional franchises.
6. We now came to 6.
Do not end in the letter S. The White Sox, that's 2. Red Sox.
Now, this is in Major League Baseball, the NFL, and the NBA.
The Utah Jazz, the Orlando Magic, and the Miami Heat.
That's it.
Yeah.
Everyone else ends in S.
Oklahoma City Thunder. Don't forget them.
Thunder from down under.
No, that's Las Vegas, and we don't need to go there.
Kyle Busch has been logging some laps in this practice session. He's 4th quickest. He's run a total of 21 laps.
Steve, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about at the opening of the show. I think you'll see a lot of these teams, you know, Larry's already talked about, we still got an hour to go before the end of this practice. I think guys like Kyle Busch and Carl Edwards and Brad Keselowski, they'll be working on their race setup. So they're going to log a lot of miles right now trying to get this car where they think it needs to be. Then they'll switch it over and get it ready to go qualifying. But you got to understand something. In the Nationwide Series, when you go switching over to qualifying, it's not like it is in the Cup Series. You don't start moving ballast, and you don't start changing springs and shocks and sway bars. You know, you put some tape on the nose, you may change some of the bump rubbers or something like that, something that NASCAR allows you to undo at the end of your qualifying round. Otherwise, what you're seeing here is what you're going to get come race day.
Phil has an update on Ricky Stenhouse.
Yeah, guys, we're watching Ricky Stenhouse. He's one of those cars that has to qualify his way in on time. He was only 30th fastest in the first practice session. Teammate Paul Menard was 3rd fastest. They put Paul Menard's setup in this 16 car. Definitely better. Ricky right now is 21st. Just now they came in and changed the left front spring because he said he had to hold the brakes, ride the brakes to keep it down on the left front spring. When these guys qualify, they have to have these cars down on the spring in the corner, and that's what they're working on right now with the City Financial car. But again, Ricky's one of the guys that has to qualify his way in on time.
And Phil, to add to that, in between the practice sessions, we were noticing in the Sprint Cup practice, Ricky was down trying to talk with Matt Kenseth, his teammate, to get some information from that veteran driver right there about maybe something that would help him. So far, between the adjustment with the setup, the 98 car, and maybe talking to Matt Kenseth, Ricky Stenhouse has found a little bit of speed.
But you know, the one thing we talked about this during the first Nationwide Series practice, we were talking about it during Sprint Cup Series practice. You just got to make sure when you go out there and cut your practice qualifying lap that it's the real world, that the tires don't have a little heat in them, because that makes such a difference at this racetrack. It is so hard to go out and qualify on cold tires, whether they're new or whether they're scuffed, and back up what you ran in practice. It just takes a little bit of time. We saw in the Sprint Cup Series practice where pretty much everyone on their mock qualifying runs, their fast lap was by far their second lap.
And Larry, I think people need to understand why. You can get heat in your right side tires, Steve. Usually the problem is your left side, because this track is so flat. You're rolling around on the right side, the car's rolled over and really working the right side tires. The left side tires don't heat up as quick. It takes a couple laps to really get the heat up in them. Even though everybody's trying to keep the car down on the left side, racetrack is so flat, very difficult to do.
Trevor Bayne in the 99 picked up his second top 10 finish of the year at Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin last weekend.
He's 12th quickest right now in this Toyota.
Larry, he's another one of those guys, as you mentioned, hoping to make, or will make, his first nationwide series start at New Hampshire.
Yeah, even though he has some starts in the K&N Pro Series East with a top 5 and a couple of top 10s, this will be his first start in the Nationwide Series.
12th overall for Bayne on the scoring monitor. Kevin Harvick set fast lap early and is still the quickest. Work continues on Ricky Stenhouse's car, and you look at the top 10 in this practice. And back at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, final practice for the NASCAR Nationwide Series teams. Justin Laughlin in the 27 car having a great practice. He is 11th overall.
Car's been solid all day long. You've got to remember, this is a car that Greg Biffle has raced a lot this season, and giving him, talking about Justin Laughlin, an opportunity to get back in it. His third nationwide race, but first race for Baker Kerr.
Of course, Justin's the 2009 ARCA Series Championship, driving for Eddie Sharp Racing last year.
Yeah, had 6 wins and 10, 19 top 10, 10 top 10 finishes out of 19 races out of 21 in top 10.
Kenny Wallace in the 28 car, 30th overall, 20 laps of practice.
This is definitely one of those racetracks, a lot like Richmond, Phoenix, that, you know, Kenny Wallace has normally gotten around pretty good throughout his career, the flatter, shorter tracks.
Yeah, Kenny told me a couple weeks ago when we were doing Victory Lane that he was really looking forward to getting back up here to Loudon. He really likes racing this racetrack.
You know, the track has kind of reached a little bit of a lull here. I think, you know, 2 hours and 45 minutes of practice is actually a lot of practice. I think we'll see some teams back out there a little bit later on, but I'm sure there's a lot of skull sessions going on down there right now, just trying to figure out exactly where they're at, exactly what else they want to try right now.
Morgan Shepherd, 32nd overall, and we go back to Ralph.
I'm down here with Danny O'Quinn, Steve, and this is a driver who's already changed out of his driver's suit. Part of that's because you got a very fast race car. Tell me how good your car is.
I think we got a really good car there. I think we're 6th or 7th fast. Obviously, a lot of cars haven't mocked up, but got our car a lot closer to my teammates David Gilliland this second practice. He was really good the first practice. So the Humphrey Chevys are pretty good here today. The guys have been working really hard. They made big changes from first practice for me.
How tough is it on a driver like you when you want to succeed, you want to go forward, and you just don't have the dollars on the side of the car to do it right now?
It really is tough. I mean, I think we're starting to prove here lately we got really good cars, and you know, we're really running well in practice and things like that. And it'd be nice to have some sponsorship dollars to get to race some more of these. But you know, right now, like I said, it's all about coming out here and proving what we can do. And hopefully one day somebody will jump on the quarter panels and hood of these things. You know, I know Eddie DeHaan, Randy Humphrey, both, they want to be out here racing each and every week. And you know, we're trying our darndest to be out here doing it. And you know, all we can do right now is go out here and run as fast laps as we can and run as well as we can, and hopefully that attracts some dollars for us. But you know, the economy the way it is, every team's struggling, even the big teams. So you know, we're all lucky to have a job, I guess, right now. So we're just fighting our way through.
Well, Steve, they are doing a lot with a little. In fact, I was talking to some of the guys about this team earlier today. The 91 car that David Gilliland is driving is about a 5-year-old chassis. Unheard of to see a car that old go that fast in this series.
And you know, whether it's in the Sprint Cup Series, the Nationwide Series, or even the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, it just behooves me to hear people talk down on these guys that are starting and parking. You know what? They're trying. They're trying to get stuff on their quarter panels. They're trying to get stuff to where they can race. And the biggest thing is when you look even there at Danny O'Quinn and that effort, they're actually supplying some jobs for people that otherwise would be unemployed. So there is nothing negative in any of these series that these guys are doing. They want to race. They don't want to be starting park people.
And they're having to earn their way in. Nobody's giving them a free spin. They've got to earn their way in.
Yeah, last week that team actually had Patrick Long at Road America. They had quarter panel signage. They raced all day long.
Just saw Reed Sorensen and checking back in with Ricky Stenhouse. You see he's 20th, working his 28th lap in this practice.
Ricky still in his race sit up right now in this number 6 car. Got 28 laps on the track so far.
But Jeff, you touched on it a while ago with the impound procedure that the Nationwide Series has. You know, you just keep making race runs, and maybe right near the end of this practice, put a little tape on it, make a little air pressure adjustment, some wedge adjustments, things you can change and undo between qualifying and the race, and see what you can run.
Well, Ricky Stenhouse headed to the garage where Jason Leffler is right now. We'll step aside. Be right back. July 11th, the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series invades the Hawkeye State, and they're there for the 3-wide, door-to-door, full-throttle excitement on speed. Don't miss the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series live from Iowa, July 11th, 1:30 Eastern. You know who's excited about that? Krista Voda.
The setup.
The Hawkeye State. She's from Iowa.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of Krista, you know, she's going to be doing a lot of the NASCAR hubs this upcoming week. She's got Richard Childress. That's 1 hour. Yeah, Richard Childress is going to be there
7
on Monday.
Eastern, Monday through
and then
Thursday.
Robbie Reiser will be talking, I think, about what's going on over at Roush Fenway Worther on Tuesday.
Yep.
I think the big thing Richard Childress is going to be talking about is maybe that new Nationwide Series car that's going to debut at Daytona next weekend.
Phil Parsons, what's going on with Danica Patrick?
Guys, Danica Patrick just ran her fastest lap of the session. Talked to Tony Ura Jr. just a few minutes ago, and he said it's all about track time. They started out a little bit too free in the first practice session. They said they tightened her up, and then finally got it too tight. Now they're going back the other direction. But very positive steps for Danica Patrick in this 7 GoDaddy car to get in the fastest lap of the session just 1 lap ago.
Yeah, working on her 34th lap, Phil. Danica Patrick is. Want to mention also Jason Keller in the 35 car, quickest on the 10-lap average.
We just made the announcement recently up here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway that the Indy cars will be coming back here in 2011 to run a race.
Ooh, that'll be a fast one.
Well, they raced here back in the day. In fact, Tony Stewart won the race here in 1998.
It's impressive, Larry. You didn't even look that up. Man, just 1998 just rolled right off the tongue.
Just embedded in my brain.
You're the man.
Yeah, but he's doing that at 4:30 in the morning when everybody else is sleeping.
That's right. Working on his notes.
His mind is clear.
Nobody's messing with me at 4:30 in the morning. That's the biggest thing. They're all asleep.
Little Larry time. Little me time.
What are you doing at 4:30 in the morning, Steve?
Sleeping.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Me too.
Well, Larry, your house is almost empty. You don't have any. Brandon's the only one still around.
No, Kendall.
Oh, no, Kendall.
Yeah.
Kendall, I'm sorry. Can't forget Doodlebug.
And I know Doodlebug doesn't bother you.
And I don't think Brandon will ever leave. Do you remember the movie Failure to Launch?
he and Matthew McConaughey got something in common.
Just stay right where he is. He's happy. Mike Wallace in the 0-1 car. Let's see, Mike 38th overall.
You know what that means?
What?
That makes Terry Bradshaw. Oh, dear God.
No.
That means I'm going to have me a naked room.
That's a
I
visual
think we need to move on.
Yeah. Whew.
Mike Wallace right now, 38th quickest out of the 41
said that
cars.
while you're talking about your naked room.
Okay.
Hey,
Well, he's still 38.
hey, I just heard Mark Smith take a big sigh of relief, and you had to bring it back up again.
Well, you leave us up here for 8 hours. I mean, you know.
We still have trackside to go.
I know it, in Cup qualifying. Kevin Harvick is the quickest. He's put 20 laps on the board in this practice. Paul Menard, Brad Keselowski, Kyle Busch. Trevor Bayne has jumped up a little bit yet again. Joey Logano, Danny O'Quinn Jr., Justin Allgaier, Reed Sorensen, and Stephen Wallace.
And I'll be anxious, and maybe either Ralph or Phil can find out. It's not unusual to see Kevin Harvick with this type of a schedule to go out right at the beginning of this practice, make a long run or two, and then pretty much park it to get in that zone of going over and qualify the Sprint Cup Series car.
Tony Raines in the 34 car having a productive practice session. He is 18th overall. Let's go back to Phil Parsons.
Guys, I'm standing here with Austin Dillon. Austin, you have a little bit of experience up here. You ran a couple of East races a couple years ago and then ran a truck here and ran pretty well. Tell us about your first day with a Nationwide car here.
You know, we're really good in first practice, just fighting being loose, and we tightened it up a bunch, and now we got to take it all back out because the track's come to us a little faster than we expected it to. So we're going to try a few things, and I think we got a lot to gain, but we'll get there by the end of practice.
You've been doing a whale of a job on that truck now. You 2 top 5s the last 2 races, a couple poles. What do you think about those trucks?
Yeah, I love them, man. It's a lot of fun, and these Nationwide cars are a lot of fun. I'm glad Bass Pro Shops came on and helped us out this weekend, and I think we'll have a good finish for them with this Nationwide car we got.
All right, buddy. Good luck.
Thank you.
Phil, all I care about is he's still keeping his daddy away from him.
Yeah, exactly. I told Mike that you guys said that. He said, I'm not going anywhere near him.
There you go.
Yep. He doesn't look like his dad at all, does he? Spitting image.
Pretty much.
Look, you don't have to say that about the boy.
See Brendan Gaughan here in the 62 car, 15th quickest. These guys have been on quite a roll here lately. Finished 4th at Kentucky and then had a great run. Finished 3rd at Road America last week.
They've been getting together. Like I said, Todd Parrott, you know how he is. When you get him talking, he can really open up and tell you a lot of different things, but they really feel like that they're starting to communicate. Him, Brendan are getting on the same page, and it's got to be making Rusty Wallace and that group over there a little bit happy.
Yeah, he's picked up 7 spots in the points over the last 3 races.
Mm-hmm.
Ralph, I believe Kevin Harvick is back out on the racetrack in this 33 car.
He is, Larry. I went and I talked to the crew a little bit and, you know, said basically the same thing that you were talking about, is that normally by now on these doubleheader weekends when he's in the same garage area, he's usually got that car parked and he's thinking about the Cup car. Well, he's still looking for a little bit more handling out of this car. So he's not done with the 33 just yet.
Ralph, we're about 55 minutes into a 1-hour, 20-minute practice. But the rest of the field hopes he doesn't find too much more handling in that number 33 car.
He can be really tough when he gets on a roll.
Justin Allgaier headed to the garage in his Verizon Dodge. He is 8th overall. And Jason Leffler still putting laps on the board, just completed his 30th.
You know, you think about Justin Allgaier, he's done messed around sitting 3rd in the points right now behind those 2 Sprint Cup Series regulars, his teammate Brad Keselowski and then Carl Edwards back there in 2nd.
You know, Jason Leffler comes in here 9th in the points, but he's had a tough run of luck. He's got 5 DNFs this year, including 2 of the last 3 events.
Yeah, luck has definitely not been on his side. And there is Justin Allgaier's teammate, Brad Keselowski. Right now, he's 3rd quickest, and Phil, he's run a total of 28 laps so far.
Yeah, Larry, and add that to the 10 laps that he ran in the first session. All these laps that he's run so far today have been on the same set of tires. They're just fine-tuning right now. I just talked to the guys. They said the car is pretty neutral, which is very, very hard to achieve here. But we talk about Brad's incredible record this year, the fact that he's leading the points by 237. His average finish is 4th, and that has a lot to do with his team. But let's don't discount the driver. 82 consecutive races Brad Keselowski has been running at the finish, which is an all-time record for the Nationwide Series.
And Phil, you mentioned earlier in the first practice, he has just 1 finish out of the top 10. Where was that? What was it, Phil, a 13th?
13th at Daytona.
Perhaps the most impressive stat, he's the only driver in the Nationwide Series who has completed every single lap this year.
How many drivers in either garage area would love to say my worst finish, and we're almost halfway through the schedule, was a 13th place finish.
And guys, this is not a little bit surprising when you think about, a lot of people think that he is a really a rough and aggressive type of driver, that he is still very, very consistent. He can be aggressive, but yet he can be very consistent.
When you look at the front wheels on this 22 car, remember these are red wheels. Look how black that right front tire is. That right there shows you, even with the Nationwide Series car, how much brake you use. That's just brake dust that's accumulated on those front wheels.
Down to the garage at Ralph.
You know, Steve, this is Kevin Swindell, a young man I've known most of his life, and I got to tell you, he's doing a great job out here today. Kevin, you got in this car in this session, hadn't even been in one of these stock cars yet, got on tires that were 30 laps old, and you're 25th on the speed chart now. How tough has this been for you this afternoon?
It was different. You know, we started off a whole lot slower than we were, and you know, to start off on older tires and different things is not fun, but you know, gave it a best shot. I got a few laps here in the East car, but you know, this is a whole different world over here, so you know, it's been a great opportunity to learn today with the Baker Curb guys, and hopefully we'll get this car in tomorrow.
And what's the future for you? What's your plan as you take a look at the NASCAR side of things? You've been doing a lot of the open wheel dirt stuff. What are you hoping to progress through here?
I mean, I just, you know, if I can keep going along, keep racing, and keep having something to do every weekend, I'll be happy. But, you know, I'd like to hopefully get an opportunity to actually race over here and you know, get everything right. But, you know, these guys have stepped up and let me, you know, use this as a learning curve to hopefully get myself an opportunity.
Steve, I would say if you go out on tires that are 30 laps old, there's no doubt the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, because Kevin Swindell is definitely a lot like his old man, Slammin' Sammy.
And he is a legend in the open wheel cars. Slammin' Sammy Swindell is. Well, Kevin Harvick's still the quickest. We're an hour into this practice. Celebrate your 4th of July weekend with speed at Daytona International Speedway. Visit speed.com, keyword promo, to purchase your specially priced Coke Zero 400 ticket package that includes a reserved Coke Zero 400 ticket, pre-race pit pass, and access to speed talent like Larry McReynolds in the Sprint fan zone. That's what it said right here. Larry McReynolds.
I don't think that's what that card actually said, but what I've been told
I just added you.
is Miss Danica Patrick here in the 7 car, 35th quickest, fast lap 30.89, that she may be on a practice qualifying run.
Well, look at that front grille on this race car, and you can see real quick it's all taped up, Larry.
Solid.
I've got to believe that that's what's happening. Carlos really looked a little bit squirmy getting down in that turn number 3.
As this will be, I think, the start of her first lap. And what we've been seeing throughout all of the practice sessions in both series, it's normally your second lap that will be the quickest. Tires start to hook up a little better.
A little bit tentative off that turn 2 right there, getting back to the throttle.
See what she does here on lap 2.
Oh,
she
yeah.
picks it up, yeah,
oh, yeah.
to a 30-44, 21st.
Yeah, very nice.
Good pickup.
We talked about how close these drivers are on the racetrack. 3 drivers, their fast time is a 30-44, Phil.
Guys, Tony Jr. was telling her on the radio, said, now give me one more car length deeper going in, pick up the gas 1 car length sooner. Let's just pick it a little bit at a time. But that was about 4.5 tenths faster than she had run before. So Tony said, great job there, good pickup.
No, that is a great pickup. And I mean, that's the thing that I think she's going to have to do, is keep stepping it up. Go a little deeper. Pick up the throttle a little earlier. Do it until the car does something. And then when the car does something, that's when Tony Eury Jr. and that group will go to work and fix it. But that's a good pickup for her.
But you know what? I'll give her, as well as Tony Jr., a lot of credit. They're working at it a little bit of the time, and she's not going over her head and getting herself in trouble. You seen that car out of shape so far today? It's just like, I'm going to feel my way through this thing. Because this racetrack, it'll jump up and it'll get you in trouble in a hurry.
And I think that's the biggest thing tomorrow. Run all of these laps.
Yep.
I don't care if you finish 15th or 25th, just run all of the laps.
Yeah, because her first 3 starts at the beginning of this season were pretty much cut short by, I mean, I'm not saying it was her fault, but she got caught up in a wreck at Daytona, and, you know, best finish, I believe, was 33rd, something like that, but all 3 finishes in the 30s.
Caught up in a wreck at her last race at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Trevor Bayne has jumped up to 5th quickest with this 99 car from Michael Waltrip Racing. 2nd quickest Toyota behind Kyle Busch in the 18 car.
Interesting note about Trevor Bayne, top 12 finishes in 5 of his last 7 Nationwide Series races. Justin Allgaier got his first win of the season in this series at Bristol back in the spring.
He has 1 start here from last year. He finished 13th in that race 1 year ago.
Had his worst finish of the year last week at Road America. Broke a track bar very early in the race, 2nd lap, I believe.
See him really having to pedal it off the corner there, and that just kills the exit of the corner and kills the straightaway speed as well. Mike Bliss is 27th quickest. He's run a total of 25 laps in this 40 car.
You know, one other thing about Allgaier in the 12, it's easy to overlook. You know, he's 3rd in points.
Yeah, by far the highest full-time Nationwide Series driver that doesn't compete in the Cup Series.
I don't think it'll be too long before we see Justin Allgaier make a Cup start.
I don't think it will be either. You know, he actually did the open test at Charlotte Motor Speedway when they were there back in the spring, testing the new rear spoiler.
Guys, take a quick look who's number 2 right now on the speed chart.
How about that?
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 2nd quickest in that number 6 car.
On his 37th lap.
Thank you, Mr. Paul Menard.
Thursday, it's NASCAR history in the making as the nominees for the 2nd class of the NASCAR Hall of Fame are unveiled exclusively on NASCAR Race Hub. Don't miss the special edition of NASCAR Race Hub Thursday at 8 Eastern.
Okay, Steve.
25 nominees for the 2nd class.
I know you've already seen the list, right?
I have not.
You haven't?
I have not.
Oh, come on, you couldn't share with us a little bit of information?
I have not seen it. I have not seen it.
So one would assume that most of the names that were on last year's list will be on this list, but we know that there will probably be obviously 5 new names added to it, for sure.
What I'm hearing there might be some surprises.
In other words, more than 5 names different from last year, which means there's some names that were on it last year that will not be on it.
Come off of it, because I mean that's the one thing about what they were explaining to me. This is a whole brand new deal. They start over.
Oh yes, definitely.
It's not like automatically you get
Oh, you're saying if you were a nominee for the 1st class, you're
it
not
doesn't lock you in.
You're not locked in.
One would assume a good many of them will be on there.
Yes. Guys like David Pearson and
like
Bobby Allison,
Darrell Waltrip.
You would assume that those guys will be there. Cale Yarborough, to name just a few.
You know what I do hope this year, though? I do hope that we go back and get some of the pioneers, you know. And I know some of them were on that list last year, like Lee Petty, like Ned Jarrett.
Exactly.
I really, truly hope. It's been said and said and said, and we have to give credit where credit is due. Rick Allen put it best by saying that 1st class needed to be the Mount Rushmore of NASCAR, and it indeed was that, and then some. But now I think we have to take a look at some of the guys that paved the way for what we're able to do today, that were there in the early beginnings of this sport.
And I'll tell you somebody right now, I hope
Fireball Roberts.
Yeah, Fireball Roberts is a great one.
Marvin Pants.
But I'll tell you, not just drivers. I think guys like Dale Lemon, for example, there wouldn't be a Richard Petty without a Dale Lemon in that organization over there at Petty Enterprises. And I think Dale has meant so much to guys like me and you, Larry, that, you know, he deserves to be on it. Ray Fox, you know, Raymond Parks, again, and we just lost the other day. He deserves to have a shot at getting in this thing. There's a lot of people that have contributed to building the sport to what it is today.
Phil Parsons standing by with the quickest driver in this practice.
Hey, Kevin, during the first practice we listened to, and you said that you felt like you had a truck steering wheel after that small steering wheel last weekend. Have you got the steering wheel figured out?
Yeah, I think so. You know, we run such a small wheel at the road courses to make the steering quicker. It's a lot different getting back in this week, but our Jimmy John Chevrolet has been really good. It could have been a little bit better there in qualifying trim, but we'll make an adjustment for tomorrow, and it should be okay.
Did you fight any issues during the practice session? Tight, loose, anything, or was the car pretty good the whole time?
We've been on both sides of it, but the car's been pretty good the whole time. So we're racing a lot different setup than what we would normally race. So we'll see how it goes.
How about the Cup car? You're going to qualify here in just a few minutes.
Yeah, it was really good in race trim, but questionable in qualifying trim. So hopefully it made some good adjustments, and we'll see where we fall.
All right, thanks, Kevin.
Thanks.
Back to you, Steve.
Thank you, Phil.
Now his time is a 29:52, and I was just looking here, confirming before I gave out information. He actually is a track record holder, and he set that track record back in 2001 at a 29:13. So Jeff, one would think qualifying fairly early in the morning, if it's a little cool, a little overcast, could be getting close to that track record.
Yep, could easily do that. And what impresses me, though, is that with Kevin's group, is their car is so tunable. It was a little bit loose, a little bit tight. He's able to get that car adjusted. So, I mean, you got to think that Ernie Cope and them over there at KHI have done a really good job not only building the car, but figuring out what it takes to make it work.
Just saw Tony Raines heading to the garage. Raines pretty decent, mid-pack, 23rd overall. We took a look at the points leader, Brad Keselowski.
Guys, I'm still amazed at the organization over there at Penske Racing, able to put together not only one competitive nationwide car with Justin Allgaier, but get this whole number 22 operation started from the ground up and be as competitive as it's been all season long. I mean, both the 22 and the 12 have been contenders, have won races.
3
They're
wins.
up there. I mean, it's impressive. It's very impressive what they've been able to accomplish.
But I think with putting Chad Walter with Justin Allgaier, Paul Wolf over there with Brad Keselowski, I think a lot of it started right there with those two crew chiefs.
Speaking of crew chiefs, I believe Pop's got this 88 tuned up, and Elliott Sadler has definitely got up on the wheel and made a qualifying attempt to move this thing all the way up to third quickest. It's number 88 Real Tree car.
And we now have 5 drivers who have run a lap under 30 seconds. Kevin Harvick leading the way. We'll be right back to New Hampshire Motor Speedway. About 3 minutes left in this final NASCAR Nationwide Series practice, and they qualify tomorrow morning here on Speed.
It looks like they keep making practice qualifying runs with this 7 car of Danica Patrick, because she ran at 30:44, then the last time ran a 30:38. Now this is the second lap of this run here. Not quite as quick, a 30:92 that time.
But Larry, look at the front noses thing. It looks like they've taken some tape off. I think they're just trying to get her to run a few laps here. The bottom's got a couple openings, as well as that top grill opening.
Real good 1 and 2. You got no pressure at all.
Justin Lofton in the 27 just jumped up to second quick as we watch Danica.
Another name that has jumped up there in the top 5, Reed Sorensen, in that 32 car is 5th quickest now.
30:88.
So we're down to about 2 minutes to go in this practice
Open up
session.
a little bit in the 1 there, and then you get it turned real good. Good job.
And Larry, right now, she's run 50 laps in this final practice.
But I like what they just told her there about the way she got down into turn 1 is holding it out a little bit, not overdriving it.
30:77.
See, every
Much
lap
better.
just keeps getting quicker. She's picking up about a 1/10 a lap, which is not unusual, because now the air pressure's coming up in the tires, heat's getting in the tires. It's not unusual, whether it's Nationwide Series or Sprint Cup, your fastest lap maybe be 7, 8, 9 laps into a run.
Coming up shortly, we'll have NASCAR Sprint Cup Series qualifying. Juan Pablo Montoya was fastest in practice a little while ago.
He sat on the pole here the last time back in the fall. Was fast all weekend long.
Carl Edwards, 6th quickest, Phil.
Yeah, guys, that was his first qualifying attempt. He was 17th quickest just a moment ago, jumped up to 6th on his mock qualifying run. They have been fighting it tight through the center of the corner. The last time out prior to this mock run, he ran about a 1/10 of a second faster than he had all day long, and he said that was a definite improvement. The car's definitely getting better for Carl Edwards.
Phil, he's run 26 laps in this practice. See, he's taking the helmet strap off. He's getting ready for Sprint Cup Series qualifying.
You know, you could almost hear in Brad Keselowski's voice when we were interviewing here, this is only race number 16. Of course, they run a 34 race schedule, so they're not quite halfway in this Nationwide Series. And even though Brad comes in here with a 237-point lead over this 60-team Carl Edwards, Drew Blickensderfer, Brad Keselowski knows that this group may get on a roll after winning at Road America last week, and that 237-point lead can go away in a hurry.
Guys, something we hadn't really touched on too much during this practice session. We see the red and black being displayed. We talk about all these teams making their qualifying runs. We haven't talked a lot about the draw. The fact that somebody going out early tomorrow morning, it could be an advantage to them. Guys like Elliott Sadler going out 4th, Joey Logano 6th, and even Kevin Harvick going out 12th. Those cars could possibly take advantage of being cool. Some of the other cars going out later on, like Kyle Busch, he's 31st, and Paul Menard 27th. That could hurt them.
I like that draw by Kevin Harvick, though, because like we were talking earlier, they've got that K&N Pro Series East race, a little different tire. Don't want to be the first car out in the morning.
You got to finish your corn dog?
It's done.
You sure?
I threw the rest of the second one away.
Had enough.
I'll come up with some more trivia.
Let's see the Jazz, Utah Jazz. Never mind. Well, there's the speed stage. John Roberts manning the booth.